Hello friends, welcome to all of you. As you all are aware that we are covering the crash course series on ancient India. Your exam is going to be nearer. This was the plan that we have to in a rapid mode complete the entire ancient history segment, which is considered as one of the most complicated segment in Indian history. So in that series right now we are coming on the topic of the Mauryan dynasty. In next 1 hour I will try to cover up all the important dimensions of the Mauryan dynasty. Let's start. Mauryan dynasty, this was the first empire of Indian history. It was the first empire of Indian history. In last class we did cover that in 6th century BC this was the rise of second urbanization, and in that rise of second urbanization there was the rise of the 16 Mahajanpadaj, that was the Kasi, Kosal, Kuru, Kamboj, Angavanti, Asmak, Magad, Matsya, Malla, Vats, Vajji, Gandhar, Panchal, Sursen, Chedi. So among that 16 Mahajanpadaj, this was the Magad Mahajanpadaj who led the imperialistic policy, and in course of time they annexed almost all the Mahajanpadaj and they ruled over the Indian subcontinent. So this is the Mauryan dynasty. The process of the expansion of Magad Mahajanpadaj, it completed during the reign of the Ashoka the Great after the victory of Kalinga. So coming to the political history of Mauryan dynasty, and in that there are the three prominent king. First one is the Chandragupta Maurya. He ruled since 323 BC to 298 BC. Then after it was the Bindusar succeeded Chandragupta Maurya. It was Bindusar. He ruled since 298 BC to 273 BC, and finally it was the Emperor Ashoka. He ruled since 273 BC to 234. In some textbook you will get 232. After the Emperor Ashoka, it was the decline of the Mauryan dynasty. It was the decline of Mauryan dynasty, and finally it was the Pushyamitra Shunga, the military commander of last Mauryan king. It was Brihadrath, and he succeeded the throne and led the foundation of the Shunga dynasty, and it was the beginning of the post-Mauryan era. So right now one by one we will cover the history of all these three prominent kings. Means in ancient history the story it started since the Stone Age. Story started since Stone Age. Then after which segment, that is the Chalcolithic age. Then after this is the Indus Valley civilization. Then after it was the Vedic age. Then after it was the rise of 16 Mahajanpadaj. And finally it was the Mauryan Empire, the Great Mauryan Empire. तो in the journey of ancient Indian history, we started the syllabus started from the Stone Age. This is the crash course. That's why I feel कि we started from the Indus Valley civilization. So what is the Stone Age? Stone Age is divided in three parts, that is the Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic. It is called Neolithic, means something new it was happening in Stone Age. That's why it was the Neolithic. What was the something new? The primitive humans, they became they were following the pastoral livelihood culture. They were shifting from one place to another place, and in the Neolithic age agricultural practices started and they become stagnant, and they started the stagnant lifestyle. Then after this was the formation of the society. When they started the stagnant lifestyle, it was the formation of society. And then after, in Stone Age they were not aware with any metal. Then after, they first introduced with metal, and the first metal it was the copper. That's why it is called the Chalcolithic age. Chalcolithic age, this was the rural culture. There was the formation of society. Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic. Formation of society, it was in Neolithic. Beginning of culture, it was in Chalcolithic. And Indus Valley civilization, this was the first urban civilization. Means what is the course of history? What is the movement of history? This is going in the flow chart in this diagram. This is from bottom to top. At the time of the Indus Valley civilization, it was on top. In Vedic age, the Aryans, they were once again like the Paleolithic and Mesolithic, they were following the tribal livelihood practices. Means it was the rural culture, and once again this is the downfall of the Indian history. Then after once again in 16 Mahajanpadas, it was the beginning of the second urbanization, and one Magadha Mahajanpada, it led the expansionist policy. And during the Mauryan Empire, what happened? Almost entire Indian subcontinent, means ki today's the part of India, part of Bangladesh, part of Nepal, part of Pakistan, part of Afghanistan, it become the one territory, it become the one empire under the Mauryan dynasty. So that's why we started that ki this is the first empire of Indian history. And in that empire, the first king, who is the Chandragupta Maurya. You can recall the story that it used to be Chanakya, who used to be the royal advisor of Dhanananda, the last king of Nanda dynasty. When Dhananand insulted and expelled to Chanakya from his royal court, then with support of the Chandragupta Maurya, he replaced the Nanda dynasty, and Chandragupta Maurya, he became the founder of the Mauryan dynasty. After the foundation of the Mauryan dynasty, everything was going in usual way. In 305 BC, it was in 305 BC, when Alexander returned back from India. Alexander, you are aware that he reached up to the river of Beas, and from the river on the bank of the Beas river, he decided to return back. When he returned back from India, whatsoever he had conquered, he given to their representative, and it was the Seleucus Nicator, who was ruling over the Central Asia region, So Seleucus Nicator, he also became very ambitious, and he decided to capture Indian territory. As this was the final destination in context of the Alexander victory, and Alexander, who wanted to become the world conqueror, but he could not finally made the victory of India. So right now this was the ambitiousness of the Seleucus Nicator. He wanted to capture the Indian territory, and he was with the notions that this was the destiny of the Chandragupta Maurya, who could occupy, who could replace the Nanda dynasty. As his observation was that he is not from the royal family, their ancestors are not from the royal clan. So that's why it is easy to replace him. So what happened in 305 BC? In 305 BC, a famous war that was fought in between Chandragupta Maurya and Seleucus Nicator In this war, Seleucus Nicator, he was defeated by Chandragupta Maurya, and he had to ceded back 4 provinces. He had to ceded back 4 provinces in favor of Chandragupta Maurya. So that 4 provinces that were the Arachosia, Peloponnese, Gedrosia and Herat. So right now Arachosia and Gedrosia, this is the part of the Afghanistan, Kabul and Kandahar and the nearby area. So in this way, in context of the expansion of the Magadha Mahajanpadas, the territorial boundary of the Magad Mahajanpadas, it is touching to the Central Asia. It is touching to the Central Asia of the victory of Chandragupta Maurya over Seleucus Nicator. There were some other term and condition of the peace treaty of which was made on 305 BC. What was the another term and condition? The next term and condition, Seleucus Nicator, he had to marry his daughter Helen with Chandragupta Maurya. Right now both are having the cordial relationship, and for the Greeks, the elephants, for the Alexander army, the elephantry of Porus, it made the difference in the battlefield. It was the destiny of Alexander that finally this was the heavy rainfall, and due to that elephantry of Porus, it became effectiveless. So what was the scenario? Elephantry, and one of the reason of the revolt of the Alexander army, this was a threat of the huge elephantry base of the 5,000 elephants of Dhanananda. So this is Chandragupta Maurya. After the cordial relationship, he gifted 500 elephants to Seleucus Nicator, and Seleucus Nicator, he sent his ambassador Megasthenes in the royal court of Chandragupta Maurya. So there are some separate questions from the foreign account of Megasthenes. In art and culture segment, this is the most vital segment. Kautilya Arthashastra means the literary sources regarding the indigenous literary sources and the foreign literary sources. So if there will be time, if I will continue this series after the ancient history, then in art and culture we shall be covering the Megasthenes and what was his account regarding the contemporary political, social and economic condition. So this is the famous text of Megasthenes. It is the Indica. Megasthenes stayed in the royal court of Chandragupta Maurya for the 7 years since 305 BC to 298 BC, and he divided Indian society in 7 parts. He gave the mentioning regarding the security of the capital Pataliputra. He said the famous almost depiction of the Megasthenes, it was that कि मौर्य सम्राट को पकड़ना मुश्किल ही नहीं, नामुमकिन है, like that. So this is all we shall be covering in the segment of art and culture. Right now I earlier said that ki everything after the foundation of the Mauryan dynasty in 323 BC, everything was as usual. In 305 BC, a famous battle was fought in between Chandragupta Maurya and Indo-Greek ruler Seleucus Nicator. There was one also a famous incident which took place during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. Patliputra, it witnessed 12-year long scarcity or the famine condition. So this was the 12 years long famine condition, and you all might be aware regarding the fact that ki in all advancement in the agricultural sector, still our agricultural field, it is approx 50% our agricultural land, it depends, rely upon monsoon. So if there is a effect of the El Nino, La Nino, yeah, if there is a weaker monsoon, then still peasantry class they commit to suicide. So this is the scenario of the 1 year and not the famine condition, only the weaker, due to the weaker monsoon in 21st century some peasantry class they commit to suicide. So this was the 12 years long famine condition, 12 years long famine condition, and there was age of chaos. You can say that in common public domain there was the scarcity of the food. He was also unwired, Chandragupta Maurya, he was also unwired, and it was the Jain saint Bhadrabahu who suggested him that you should go to Shravan Belgola. So along with the Bhadrabahu, Jain saint Bhadrabahu, this is the question of your exam, he moved from capital Patliputra to Shravan Belgola, and here by Sanlekhana method. In Jain doctrine, in Jain religion, this is the very holy practice followed by some saints, Sanlekhana method. This is the slow starvation technique. Slow starvation technique means अन्न जल का त्याग करना. तो by the slow starvation technique he through his life he you can say this is the form of the suicide. In later I feel कि 5-6 years back there was the so much dispute on the Sanlekhana method, and there was something the order of the Supreme Court, that's why it get the momentum. So this is the religious issue. Chandragupta Maurya, he threw his life in 2098 BC. Then after it was the Bindusar who succeeded the throne. So coming to the Bindusar, he succeeded a huge empire of Chandragupta Maurya, and there was no any political challenge when he succeeded the throne. That's why he gave the priority of cultural relation. He gave the priority to promote cultural relation, and in this regard he made cultural relation with the Syrian king and Egyptian king. What was the name of the Syrian king? It was Antiochus. What was the name of the Egyptian king? It was Ptolemy Philadelphus. So it was the Antiochus and it was the Ptolemy Philadelphus. Syrian king Bindusar, he demanded three things. By the Syrian king. This is also the form of the question in your exam. What were that three items he demanded for that? It was the dry fruits, it was dry fruits, it was sweet alcohol, and it was, he demanded, a sophist. To Syrian king, still Syria is a small country. To Syrian king, he fulfilled two demands immediately of the dry fruits and sweet alcohol, but he politely denied the demand of sophist. Sophist means philosopher. He politely refused the demand of the sophist and said that there is no such tradition of the exchange of sophist in Syrian culture. But he sent Seleucus Nicator, he sent Megasthenes, so he sent one ambassador whose name was, it is the Antiochus, and he sent Dimachus. So Dimachus, he was the ambassador, he was not sophist, he was ambassador. Okay. Ptolemy Philadelphus, he sent an ambassador whose name was, this is the Dimachus, he sent Dionysius, in royal court of Bindusar. So just like the similar name, and right now you can recall that this is the Dimachus and Dionysius, but in exam it quite confuse you because the both name are similar, so you have to be precautious regarding these facts. UPSC make statement like that. Okay. So during the time scenario of the Bindusar, there were the two revolts. In Taxila, and it was the Emperor Ashoka. To suppress first revolt, he sent his elder son Susim. This is also the question. And to suppress the second revolt, Taxila is right now in Pakistan. So he sent at that time he was the prince. So he sent Ashoka, and Ashoka used to be the governor of Avanti province. So this is also the questions. He sent Ashoka from Avanti to Taxila to suppress this revolt. Ashoka got succeed, and it is said that he become right now ambitious. So coming to Ashoka the Great. There are the two phases. First one is the War of Succession. That was fought since 273 BC to 269 BC, and in 269 BC, coronation ceremony means राज तिलक जो होता है, मीन्स कि इनका राज तिलक हुआ, he got the throne. So in 273 BC, war of succession started among the brothers, and the Singhali literature it mentioned that after the assassination of his 99 brothers, finally Ashoka got the throne. But it seems that hyperbolic that in the Ashokan edict we get the mentioning of only one mother, and it is not possible by one mother there are the 100 children, but it proves that there was the war of succession among the brothers. So finally, after the 4-year-long war of succession in 269 BC, the coronation ceremony it was held, and finally Ashoka become the emperor of Mauryan dynasty. There is once again the question on the two types of the question on the ninth year of his coronation. Ninth year of his coronation. Yeah, there is a word after 8th year of his coronation. Means what? The coronation ceremony, it was performed in 269 BC. On the 9th year of his coronation, it was the 261 BC. So you have to be very attentive while reading the questions ki what the words they are using. If they are using after, then after 8 year. If they are using the ongoing years, means on the 9th year of his coronation. In 261 BC, famous war of Kalinga was fought. War of Kalinga, it was fought. So in that famous Kalinga war, 1 lakh people were killed, 1 lakh were assassinated, and 1.5 lakh were imprisoned. So this was the havoc of this war. And we get the mentioning of famous Kalinga war in 13th Rock Edict. In 13th Rock Edict of Emperor Ashoka. 13th Rock Edict of Emperor Ashoka. So there was the mass level casualty, and what is the difference in between the Alexander the Great and Ashoka? Alexander the Great, we have not used the word Alexander the Great. This is the Western culture who gave him the epithet of greatness. The Indian culture, he said Ashoka the Great. So what is the difference of the definition of the greatness, of the title of the greatness of Western culture and Indian culture? Western culture provide the title greatness to whom? Who is the harbinger of violence? Who was Alexander bhai? What was the achievement of Alexander? Apart from their military campaign, what was the achievement of Alexander? He was just like the Rakt Pipasu. Means ki a number of people in his military campaign, number of people he brutally assassinated. But this was the only one war of Emperor Ashoka. In this war, there was the mass level casualty, and he started to rethink that to making an empire is only a definition of greatness. Yeah, something might be else beyond political achievement. So this was the repentance of Ashoka, and finally he decided that killing to the peoples, killing to the neighbor army, this might not be the definition of the greatness. So what he decided to replace. Right now, Emperor Ashoka, he decided to replacement of what? So he replaced his policy of Bheri Ghosh and he adopted the policy of Dhamma Ghosh. What does means of the Dhamma Ghosh? Means he followed the policy of non-violence. So Ashoka, he is regarded one of the greatest king of Indian history, not due to their political achievement but due to their non-violence philosophy. And he said that कि let me live, मतलब जियो और जीने दो का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है पॉलिटिकल स्फीयर में वर्ल्ड लेवल पे, इट वाज द मौर्यन किंग अशोका हु लेड दिस philosophy or political ideology. तो धम्मघोषा policy, and then after he recruited so many administrative officials like the Dhamma Mahamatra, and he started to promote the concept of Dhamma. So this is also the questions ki what is the Dhamma concept of Emperor Ashoka. So in his Dhamma policy, in his Dhamma Ghosh policy, he promoted ethical and moral values. He promoted the idea of ethical and moral values, and he did not follow one religion. या nowhere he said that कि we have to follow such a religion, and he adopted all the positive points of contemporary at the contemporary period of all religion. In his inscription he raised the question what is Dhamma, and he himself replied that अपासिनवे बहुकयाने दया दाने सचे सोधवे माधवे साधवे च यम चु धम्मा. First he asked the question what is Dhamma, then after he said that कि यम चु धम्मा. So means this was the greatness. He did not only serve for the humanity, but beyond the humanity, he was also sensuous for the animals. He was also sensuous for the entire living creatures. So he made so many national highway. In the present sense, we can say that national highway. He made the provision of sarai, halting station on that highway. He promoted the plantation of the one special tree. This is right now called the Ashoka tree. Means कि this was the contribution of Ashoka in all direction, and that's why he become in his life as a living legend, and right now he is called Ashoka the Great. Even what was the greatness of the Ashoka? Even he sent his son and daughter to promote the concept of Dhamma in Sri Lanka. It was the Mahendra and Sanghamitra. He sent both his children to promote the concept of Dhamma in Sri Lanka, and in this way he made Bodh Dharma as an international famous religion. So this is the Ashoka. After the death of the Ashoka, it was the rapid decline of the Mauryan dynasty, and finally it was the Pushyamitra Shunga who destroyed the Mauryan dynasty. Coming to the administrative condition of Mauryan dynasty. Administrative condition of Mauryan dynasty. So the administrative condition of the Mauryan dynasty, so there was central administration, there was central administration, there was provincial administration, there was local administration, then after there was military administration, then after there was judicial administration, and finally it was the spy system of Mauryan dynasty. So coming to the central administration of Mauryan dynasty, so king, he used to be the king, he used to be the at the top of administration, top of administration. So he used to be the at the top of administration to support the king, to support the king. There used to be council of minister. There used to be council of minister. Council of ministers. There was the complicated administrative structure in the Mauryan period. So in central level, in council of minister, there were two types of post. First one was the Tirth and second one was the Adhyaksh. Second one was the Adhyaksh. So Tirth in right now scenario, in right now whatsoever the structure of our central administration, so they should be considered as the cabinet minister, and the Adhyaksh they should be considered as the स्टेट लेवल काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री जो होती है उस तरह से हमें देखना चाहिए. तो तीर्थ इन कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र देयर आर टोटल 18 तीर्थ एंड टोटल 27 अध्यक्ष. देयर आर टोटल 18 तीर्थ एंड 27 अध्यक्ष. Some of them which has been asked in your exam, so that is the Samaharta. Samaharta, he used to be the finance minister. Sannidhata, he was the head of the royal treasury. Sita Adhyaksh, this is the multiple time question, head of agriculture. Apart from that, these are the factual information you can get in any guidebook. So there were so many like the Panya Adhyaksh, like there was the Ganika Adhyaksh. So Ganika Adhyaksh, at that time scenario, the prostitution was the legal business and CR, he used to be the regulator of the prostitution. So these are the some factual data which has been asked in your exam. Coming to the provincial administration, so in Maurya period there were total 5 provinces. There were total 5 provinces. One was the Prachya Desh. Prachya Desh. So the capital of the Prachya Desh, it was the Pataliputra. Pataliputra. Right now there are the around 29 states, na? So in Mauryan time scenario, there were only 5 provinces, 5 states. So this is the states was called in that literary text Chakra. The word for the state, for the province, it has been used Chakra. So there were the 5 provinces. One was the Prachya Desh. The capital of Prachya Desh, it was the Patliputra, and another it was the Uttarapath. Uttarapath. And the capital of the Uttarapath, it was the Taxila. It was Taxila. One more province, it was the Dakshinapath. It was Dakshinapath. The capital of Dakshinapath, it was Suvarnagiri. It was Suvarnagiri. The capital of Dakshinapath, it was Suvarnagiri. One was the province, it was the Kalinga. Kalinga. The capital of Kalinga, it was Toshali. It was Toshali. And finally, it was the Avanti. It was the Avanti. As I did earlier mention that Asoka, he was the prince of Avanti. So the capital of Avanti, it was Ujjain. It was Ujjain. Okay. Right now coming to the local administration. So below the province, it was the district administration. It was the district administration. So in that time scenario, district was called Visay. The dist for the district, the word it was used Visay. and the head of the Visay, it was Vishayapati. This is also the question of your exam. So Vishayapati, who was the Vishayapati? Right now you are going to be DM Sahab. So the today DM, at that time scenario he was called Vishayapati. Below the district, the unit level of the administration, it was village. In that time scenario it was called gram. And the head of the gram, it was Gramini. So this was the all of the Mauryan central administration, provincial administration and local administration. Coming to the military administration of Mauryan time period. So there was the diversified structure of military in the Mauryan time scenario. It was infantry, then after cavalry, then after it was elephantry, then after it was the naval army, there was the archery. So this was the diversified structure of the military administration of Ashoka or the Mauryan dynasty. Coming to the judicial administration, there were two types of the judiciary. There were the two types of the judiciary. One was the Diwani Nyayalay means ki civil court, and second one was the Kantak Sodhan Nyayalay. The Kantak Sodhan Nyayalay, this was the criminal cases were heard in the Kantak Sodhan. So right now there are the civil court and there are the criminal courts. So Diwani, it was the civil court, and the Kantak Sodhan, it was the criminal court. Coming to the spy system, there were the two types of spy in that time scenario. One was the Sanstha, and second one was the Sanchar. So Sanstha, the character of the spy who used to be Sanstha, they were the stagnant one. Stagnant one means ki from one place they have to make the spy activity. The Sanchar, they were like the James Bond 007, means they were mobile in character, means ki according to the requirement of the states, they had to move from one location to another location and they had to perform vigilance activity. So this is all about the administrative condition of the Mauryan dynasty. Coming to the economic condition. So in economic condition, the first indicator, that is the condition of agriculture. It was excellent. The condition of agriculture, it was excellent in Mauryan dynasty. Almost in the entire Indian history, when the matter will be of the agriculture, so only apart from the British era, in the entire Indian history, you will get the condition of agriculture, it was quite good. So there were the two types of the land in the Mauryan period. First one was the Krisht Bhumi and second one was the Akrisht Bhumi. So two types of land. First one was the Krisht and second one was the Akrisht. What was the Krisht? Krisht was the fertile land, and achrist it was the barren land. It was barren land. The fertile land, it was once again divided in two parts. Once again divided in two parts. That is the Devmatrik. That is the Devmatrik and Adevmatrik and Adevmatrik. Adevmatrik. What was the Devmatrik? Those land which was dependent on monsoon, completely dependent on monsoon, that was under the Devmatrik land. नाम में ही देव मतलब देवता, देवता मीन्स की on the natural rainfall. So those land which was completely dependent on monsoon, that was under the Devmatrik. Adevmatrik, where there was the artificial means of the irrigation, that land was the Adevmatrik. So this is the condition of agriculture. Coming to the irrigation system. Coming to the irrigation system. Irrigation system. So irrigation system, it was also well developed. There is a one inscription, that is the Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman. So Junagadh inscription of Rudradaman, it mention it was the first. This is also the question of your exam. The first inscription written in Sanskrit language of the date of the 150 BC, and this is not the Indian king, this is the Saka king, foreign king Rudradaman. In the Rudradaman Junagadh inscription, we get the mentioning, it is the Chandragupta Maurya and it is the Asoka who developed the irrigational system, who made dam. It was the Chandragupta Maurya and not actually the Chandragupta Maurya. It was the governor of the Chandragupta Maurya whose name was the Pushyagupta Vaisya. So he made the dam on the Palasini and Swarnasikta, on the confluence of the Palasini and Swarnasikta river. So on that dam there was the canal, and by that canal the people of the Junagadh region and nearby area, they were getting the drinking water and the water which was used for the irrigational purpose. During the Asoka period, means ki Chandragupta Maurya, he is the 323 BC to 298. Then after approx 30 years, this was the time scenario of the Emperor Asoka, and Asoka ruled for approx 40 years. So in Asoka time period, the governor of Junagadh, it was Tusa. These all are the questions. That's why I am going in depth. This is not the lollipop exam. This is, you have to consider that you are going to appear, means ki in state PSC also there are straight questions, but in UPSC the questions are in depth character. So these all are the question. It was the Tusasp who repaired this dam, and after that it is the Rudradaman who mentioned that ki after that I made the repairment of this dam. So we get the information that irrigation system, it was good. Why? Because Rudradaman, he mentioned regarding the two kings ki that they made provision of that. Coming to the trade and commerce. Trade and commerce. So what was the scenario of the trade and commerce? So trade and commerce, it was also in good position. There were two types of trade: internal trade and external trade. Internal trade was via road routes and via river routes, via river routes. External trade was, it was via road and oceanic route, oceanic route. There were the connection of the Mauryans, there was the trading relations at that time scenario with the so many foreign country, among them who one is the popular, this is the Egypt, this is the Syria, this is Sri Lanka, and apart from that we were having trade relations with the Central Asia also. Right now there is the matter of what were the item of import and export. Item of import and item of export. Item of export. So sometimes there are questions from this area also. At that time scenario, the Indian economy, the balance of trade, it was in favor of India. Means ki we were giving less emphasis of the import, products of import. We were making emphasis of over export. So in import, there were the several items. Among them, this is the मेडिसिनल प्लांट जो है आयुर्वेदा उस समय रहता है, तो मेडिसिनल प्लांट का हम लोग इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट अल्कोहल, देन आफ्टर प्रेसियस स्टोन. व्हाट वेर द आइटम ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट? तो in item of export it was spices, cotton, ivory product and ornamental goods. So we were making export of these items. So this was the scenario of the trade and commerce during the Mauryan period. Coming to the coinage system. So coins, there were three types of the coin. Gold coin, silver coin and copper coin. The gold coin, it was the Suvarn. Means ki at that time scenario there was the Prakrit language of the common public domain. So Suvarn, and the silver coin, it was the Karsapan, and the copper coin, it was the Masak. So this is all about the economic condition. Coming to the social condition. So the social condition, it was also excellent, the mode of society. It was the joint family system and patriarchal based society. Condition of women, it was good. Why? Because the women had right to उपनयन, शिक्षा का अधिकार उनको रहता है. There was no any practice of the child marriage, no any practice of the polygamy. Women's, they were self-independent. Women's, they used to be the bodyguard of the king. And this is the positive features ki there were some positive mindset regarding the women. That's why they are given the opportunity for the safeguarding the most prominent person of that monarchical era. It used to be the king. The condition of slave, it was also good. The condition of Sudra, it was also excellent. Sudra, they had the right to Varta. Sudra, they had the right of agriculture, animal husbandry, and they had the right of trade and commerce. There was no any concept of the untouchability. So overall the scenario of the Mauryan society, it was good. So right now there is the limitation of the time. My dear friends, we are going to conclude the video here. If any candidate who is interested to they should contact on the given number in description box. This series will be continued, and next week we will once again come with the one more vital segment of ancient history. Till then, all the best. Thank you.